All right, this will hopefully explain what I want you to do in your next program. It's called Sorting by Selection and Insertion. So I'll read through this first, show you a running program, and then tell you what you need to do. So task says to run the code you wrote for selection sort and insertion sort. You must first create an array of 20 elements and then fill it with random numbers between 10 and 50. You should declare the array in the driver class and send it to the methods from the other classes. Print the original array, call selection sort, and then print it again. So it's going to be unsorted written initially with random numbers, and then you're going to sort it, and then the answers should be in the right order. And you're going to refill that same array with random numbers from 51 to 99. You're going to print the original array again, insertion sort it, and then print the sorted array. Now the difference with this program is there's actually three classes. There's a class called the driver, there's sort, and array actions, in addition to the utilities class like you normally do. So normally we would do this all by hand and I'd have you write a hierarchy chart and work through it all. But because of working from home and whatnot this year, we are going to modify that a little bit. So let me show you how to set it up. So first off, let me show you what the program should do if it runs. So here's my program. Notice over here I have a sorting project, make a package, I called it CS2. And then you have array actions, driver, my utilities, and sort. So there's four classes over here now. The driver's like normal, array actions, and sort. There's two separate classes because sort just has the code that's necessary for sorting, which is selection sort and insertion sort with their helper methods. And you should have already written that code. We wrote this in the notes. And then either you should have tried this code on your own or you should have emailed me asking for help on it. Array actions has methods that are specific to arrays. We're going to fill it and we're going to print it. So those methods happen over here. Now a couple things to notice. First off, let me run the program so you can see what the end goal is supposed to be. So when I run the program, that's what we get. We have our heading, as always. It's going to say an unsorted selection sort. So this is a random array with numbers from 10 to 50 just randomly put in there. Then I sort that array using selection sort, and my answer now is the same exact numbers I had up here, but they're in order from low to high. Then I refill that same array with numbers from 51 to 99. I call insertion sort on it, and then it puts it in order. So again, same exact numbers, but from low to high. Okay, so you should have three files. One's called the driver, and the driver is totally written for you. So you can fill out the top, so fill out your name, date, and teacher, and then this tells you what the program does. Now notice I make two instances of classes. I make an instance of a sort class, I call that S1, and an array actions class, I call that A1. So anytime I want to access methods in the sort class, like selection sort and insertion sort, I have to do S1 dot. Anytime I want to access methods that are array actions, I have to do A1 dot because they're in the array actions class. So fill array and print array all have A1 dots in front of them. You are still going to have to copy and paste your utilities from a previous program. So go to an old program, put in utilities. Mine says my utilities, but yours probably just says utilities. And again, the driver is completely written for you, but I want to make sure you understand what's happening. We have an array, an empty integer array of 20 elements. Then I call this method fill array, and I send fill array the array and the numbers 10 and 50. Now if you go to array actions, you'll see fill array. It has it all set up for you here. So there's your array of integers. This is the lowest number you want to get, and this is the highest number you want to get. It says A is filled with random integers in the range from low to high. I'll talk about that in a minute to give you some hints on how to do that. But know that I'm sending over 10 and 50 the first time and 51 to 99 the second time. So notice with these fill array methods, I'm sending it the same array. I only make one array ever. It's this array A up here. I just keep sorting it and refilling it with new numbers. Okay, then I print out selection sort unsorted, and I do print array. And print arrays should hopefully be pretty easy for you to do. It's just sending over an array, and you want to print out every value in that array. So visit every spot. Think about what you use to go through an array and visit every spot. And as you go, print out the value at that spot with a space in between. Okay, so that's what print array should be doing. Nothing too crazy there. Then I call selection sort. So in your sort class, you have public void selection sort, and the preconditions and postconditions are written for you already. And then you have the two helper methods. We wrote these in the notes, and you should have watched the video with those notes. So literally just copy the code from your notes into those three methods. Then it prints that array again. So sorting it changes the order of it, and then when I print it, now it's going to be sorted. Then I fill the array again. This time I send it 51 and 99. So those parameters, 10, 50, 51, and 99, are low and high. So you've got to use those to make your random numbers from that low number to that high number. Then it prints it out, and it does insertion sort. And the last thing you'll have to do is write out public void insertion sort with its two helper methods. Now again, these you should have done on your own and had me check it for you, or you should have said that you got totally stuck and then I would have helped you write this code. Okay, but one way or the other, you should have this code as well. Okay, and then you print it again. In the end, your program should run and it should look like that. If you have any problems with getting that to happen, send me an email. Before I have you start working, let's talk about this fill array and how to get random numbers. So how can we use the same fill array method to fill the array with values in two different ranges? Okay, well at this point, you've gotten random numbers a few times this year. And I want to make a random integer. So let's say my goal, this is just an example, was that I wanted random numbers from, I don't know, let's say 3 to 15. All right, so I can start by saying math.random. And what's that give me? Remember, that gives you a double, including 0, but not including 1. Okay. Now, if I want the lowest number to be 3 instead of 0, what can I do to math.random? Well, actually, first off, what should I do to math.random so it's not a double and it's an integer? Remember, we put int in front of it to cast it. Okay, so if I want this to be a 3 and not a 0, what I would do is I'd put a plus 3 on the end. Okay, that would bump this up by 3. It could also bump this up by 3. So now my random numbers would be 3 to 4, but not including 4. Okay, well, that seems okay. That got me the low number. How would I get the high number? Well, the high number needs to be a 15. So what would happen if I just multiplied by 15 right here? Okay, well, let me show you. Technically, what would happen is we'd start with math.random going from 0 to 1, including 0, not including 1, multiplying by 15 wouldn't affect the 0, but it would make it less than 15 now. So now I've got random numbers between 0 and 14, really. So this plus 3 on the end, if I add 3 after all of that, I get 3 to 18. So what numbers would that really make? And that would make 3 to 17, because it's strictly less than 18. Is that what I wanted? Not quite. I wanted 3 to 15. So the higher end was too big. So how could I adjust that? Well, if you think about it, what you really want to have happen is you want this number here to be 16. Because if it was including 3 but not including 16, that'd be 3 to 15. That's our goal. We know I need this plus 3 to bump the 0 up to a 3. That's the only way that's going to happen. So if I need this to be a 16, what does that need to be? Yeah, that needs to be a 13. So really, in this case, I need to multiply this by 13 and then add 3 to it. Okay. Let me give you another example. Let's say I want a number from, let's say, 25 to 80. Just picking random numbers here. All right, well, to do that, we'd have int math.random and I know I have to multiply it by something and then also add something. So just like this one, what do you think the thing I'm going to have to add is? Well, I'm eventually going to want to bump that 0 up to a 25, so you're definitely going to have to add 25. So you can kind of see that whatever your low value is, that has to go here. Here it was 3, here it's 25. But let's think about what that's going to do. So I'm going to start taking math.random, which gives me 0 to 1. I'm going to multiply it by something. I don't know what that is yet. But I know whatever I multiply this side by, it's still going to be 0. And then I need to add 25. So let's work backwards. This is going to be 25, which is what we want, is less than or equal to x. And I want this to be less than what number? Well, if I want to get an 80, it would need to be less than 81, because then 80 would still be included. So if I'm going to add 25 to something and get 81, what's that going to be? 81 minus 25, 56. So if I'm going to turn 1 into a 56 by multiplying, that means I'm multiplying by 56 here. So this number was 56. All right, so the only trick is, if you look back into array actions, we're sending it parameters low and high. And I've shown you in the driver, low is 10, high is 50 the first time. And then here, low is 51, high is 99. I've pretty much given you the code in here to make a random number, and you know that the thing on the end is going to be low. Whatever that low variable is going to have to go here. The only thing you have to maybe think about is, how do I get 13 out of those numbers? How do I get 56 out of those numbers? And you can kind of think of the process we did in order to do that. And that's what you're going to have to do, because you're going to need to write this method in terms of low and high, if that makes sense at all. All right, I think that's enough talking. Go ahead, download these 3 files into a new sorting project. Call it package CS2. And once you do that, you can start typing. Let me know if there's any questions.